evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Alonso from UN Women Caribbean, and I'm very pleased to moderate today's session of the UN Women-COLEAD South-South Series. This is the session number 8. The session we have today is going to be focused on artificial intelligence for women entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for joining us from different regions in the world and time zones. We are delighted to have with us colleagues, partners, women entrepreneurs, private sector representatives, and experts that are working to advance more inclusive and sustainable business ecosystems. I would also like to thank COLEAD for this continued collaboration, and in particular, Inês Bastos, Nina Desanlis-Perrin, and Awoudja, as also I do with our panelists that I will be introducing to you, the audience, later. And also all the participants, thank you for being here with us today. As you know, this session is part of our shared effort to create spaces for knowledge exchange, practical learning, and South-South collaboration. Before we begin, just a few brief housekeeping notes. This session will last around 1 hour and 45 minutes. During the webinar, we will launch 2 short polls to better understand participants' familiarity with AI and to capture some of their reflections before our discussion segment. So please stay engaged and take part when the polls appear on your screen. We encourage you to use the the chat throughout this session. You may share comments, examples, and questions there, and we will return to them during the Q&A segment. Today's session is designed to be practical and accessible to you all. Our goal is not only to discuss AI as a trend, but also to explore what it can mean for women entrepreneurs across different regions and contexts. What the opportunities are, what barriers remain, and what conditions are needed to ensure AI works in an inclusive and empowering way. To open the session, I am very pleased to invite Inês Bastos, Head of Networks and Alliances at COLEAD. Inês brings more than 2 decades of experience in technical assistance, monitoring, network management, and policy development, with a strong focus on agri-food sector development. Over the past 7 years at COLEAD, she has coordinated technical activities across Eastern and Southern Africa, covering areas such as business management, access to finance, and network development. Since 2024, she has also served as COLEAD's gender focal point, championing women's empowerment across the organization's programs. Thank you so much, Inês. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Alonso. Thank you to all to be here, and many thanks again to the UN Women and Alonso and the team for our collaboration. So it's really a privilege to welcome all of you to the already 8th session of the UN Women-COLEAD South-South Series. Today we gather across time zones, languages, and sectors to explore a topic that is really reshaping our world: artificial intelligence. AI is not just a technological revolution, it is a social and economic revolution. Yet, as we stand at the forefront of this transformation, we must confront a stark reality. Women are again potentially being left behind. Global data shows that women are 25% less likely to adopt AI than men, with the gap widening in rural sectors like agri-food. This is not just a digital divide, it is again a gender divide, and it risks deepening inequalities. The numbers are clear. Only 23% of women report using generative AI tools in their work. AI can either reinforce existing inequalities or become a catalyst for equity, and we really hope that it's the second option and AI is used in the best way possible. So AI is not just about algorithms or automation. It is about empowerment for women entrepreneurs. Artificial intelligence can be the game changer. Why? Because it can increase productivity. It can increase market access. AI can connect rural producers to global buyers, bridging the gap between local innovation and international markets. It can also bring financial inclusion. It can expand access to credit, insurance, and digital payments. And this is something that the financial inclusions is something that's still very persistent when we talk about women. And really, that's why we are here today, to learn from women entrepreneurs who are already harnessing AI to transform their businesses. So really big welcome to all of them that are here today with us. It's an opportunity also to identify the barriers that stand in the way of inclusive adoption and potentially build the partnerships and policies needed to ensure that no one is left behind. So over the next 1 hour and a half, we'll hear from pioneers in the Global South. I hope the stories will inspire us. They're already inspiring me. And we will have also time for your voices, the questions, the ideas from the audience. There will be a survey. There is also the chat that you can use. And before I give the floor to Alonso, our moderator, I would just like to say that AI is really something that we cannot ignore. And there is no turning back. The question is not whether we embrace this transformation, but how we shape it to be inclusive, equitable, and empowering for all. So let's use this session to turn that right into a reality, to ensure that women are not just participants in the AI revolution, but leaders of it. Thank you so much. And I now pass the floor to our moderator, Alonso, to guide us throughout our discussions.
Thank you very much, Inês, for those opening remarks and for setting the stage for the conversation so well. I will now share a short introductory presentation to frame the conversation and highlight why AI matters for women entrepreneurs today. As you all know, artificial intelligence is already reshaping the way businesses communicate, organize information, understand markets, and make decisions. But the reality is that access to these opportunities is still unequal. Women are still less likely than men to adopt AI tools, and we need to ask ourselves why. Often it's because of lower confidence, more limited access to digital tools and skills, and wider structural inequalities that we can see in our societies. In many low-income settings, connectivity, affordability, and digital literacy remain major barriers for us all. And this matters. This matters because AI is becoming part of the future, not only the present that it is already, but the future of our work. And many jobs and businesses will require new digital and adaptive skills in the years ahead. At the same time, AI can be a very practical tool for entrepreneurs when the right enabling conditions are in place, such as skills, affordable technologies, quality data, and supportive regulations. AI are helping and can help women-led businesses save their time, improve their communications, strengthen them in marketing. However, AI may reproduce some risks existing inequalities rather than reducing them. From a border perspective, AI readiness is still very uneven across regions. I would like to pass now with the first poll before we move into the panel. Let us launch this poll, and I encourage you to participate. These questions are simply to get a sense of the room and understand how familiar are you already with AI tools. So please, I will give you, and we will give you a couple of minutes, 1-2 minutes to complete the first poll, and then we will analyze the responses on the poll. I really encourage you to participate and fill the poll, complete the answers. Thank you. couple of seconds more just in case you didn't answer yet. Great. Thank you so much for participating and for engaging with the poll. We will try to shortly analyze the answers and the results of the poll. That will have us a view about what's the sense regarding AI in the room. Welcome to you all that are joining us and introducing yourselves in the chat. So most of you had used AI occasionally or regularly as part of your workflow. That's interesting, but we can see that still 13% of the people here in the room have never used AI tools. Most of you think that yes, that the AI tools are equally accessible. I'm looking forward to the conversation with our panelists to know what's their perspective. When asking you what is the main challenge preventing you from using AI, uh, most of you say that is the lack of time to learn or experiment, and this is a big problem when we are talking about entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs. Um, and yeah, and the fourth is about the areas do you see the greatest potential for AI? That's something that we would like to talk about it today. It here is very split between answers, so we will see how this affect to the development of our businesses, of your businesses. And last but not least is how do you currently see AI being used in the agri-food sector? Um, and there is here a lack of, when it comes to the particularity of the agri-food sector, we can see that most of you say that you don't know about AI tools for farming, processing, or marketing. So that's something that we can talk about today. Thank you so much all for participating. We are gonna close the pool now. I'm gonna start, if you allow me, introducing the panelists that are the main pillar of our sessions and of our session today, of course. So I would like to start by introducing Akoua Awoudja. She is a strategic digital transformation.
Yes.
I'm going to introduce you. Let people know. She is the strategic digital transformation advisor in data exploitation for artificial intelligence at I said in Togo. Akoua, as I was saying, is Togolese expert in digital transformation and artificial intelligence, with a specialization in machine learning and the strategic use of big data. Through her publication, MaestrIA, I hope I'm pronouncing well, she turns technological developments into practical insights for growth and competitiveness. She has also served as a technical advisor in digital ecosystem development and co-founded technology ventures, while actively promoting the inclusion of women and youth and the democratization of innovation in Africa. It's a pleasure to have you here, Akoua. Go ahead, please.
Very much, Alonso, and good afternoon, good evening to all of you. I hope you're all doing well, and I'm pleased to see that you are numerous to attend this webinar. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence and women's entrepreneurship, and I will be talking about the subject which is at the crossroad of data, innovation, entrepreneurship in Africa, and how artificial intelligence can become a powerful tool for empowering women entrepreneurs. It's a powerful empowering tool for women in Africa. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to quickly introduce the topics that I will be talking about. I'm a specialist of artificial intelligence and economic automation, as was said by Alonso, but I'm trying to make sure that the result of my research and the articles that I publish can provide a better response and can explain all that has to do with artificial intelligence. This is useful for startups, but also regarding issues touching upon ethics and governance. I'm also working on use of data, how we can use data to facilitate decision-making process, especially in the private sector, because this is where economic stakes are, and it's also a matter of supporting decision-making in the public. So for me, the final impact is to have strengthening of skills, especially for women, and we want to make sure that we have policies that will enable all this. Next slide, please. So when we talk about women entrepreneurship and IA, there are several challenges that women are facing. Well, first of all, women are a vulnerable target facing a number of obstacles for their own development. Now we have this new thing, which is digitalization and AI. So the first challenge in the poll, several persons indicated that the problem is mostly limited digital infrastructure or equipment, which is probably due to limited resources that would allow for these infrastructures, because you know that you need an infrastructure to be able to have artificial intelligence. So you need energy, you need the infrastructure. Without it, you wouldn't have all the interconnections that would allow for the model, the AI model to work. And there are remote areas that are suffering from this digital deficit, and this is particularly hard on women. The second element is the high cost of technology. In certain areas, especially remote and rural areas, women don't necessarily have the financial freedom to have access to their own finances. And so for them, it is important, it would be important to have financial affordability and to have access to certain types of equipment and technology. Now for SMEs led by women, this means that it's a bit complicated because they might not have access to the market to be able to scale their businesses. This is particularly true in remote areas. Third consideration, accessibility, which is quite low in terms of data. Now, it is not always easy to find data that can be of quality and that can be used. So this is another obstacle. And another one is the lack of data literacy. This means that people don't necessarily understand how data is important. How can you collect qualitative data? How can you properly use it, especially if you're an SME or a micro company? This is an obstacle. And then the last one, it's the systemic biases. It means that women are so underrepresented in the tech industry and especially in artificial intelligence that solutions are not geared to the resolution of problems faced by women. In fact, the problems which are going to be solved are mainly so-called male problems or problems encountered by men. So those are some of the challenges that we are facing. Next slide, please. So despite all of these challenges, which are an obstacle for women entrepreneurs, especially for those who are generating income, but also for those who have a good market outlet for their products, there are still opportunities that can be used concretely thanks to artificial intelligence. For instance, even this presentation, which I'm making, I'm using Word, and then I have used an application which is called Gamma. I will show you. And this has helped me. I was able to, gain a lot of time, about 2 or 3 hours, which I could dedicate to some other activities. This is just one example. This is important for a very small business because you're not wasting time. So also another activity is that you can automate your marketing activities. So you generate content also thanks to artificial intelligence. You can generate images, video, or sound. So you can reinforce what you have in your business, whether your business has 10 people or less working or even more. So whether it's a micro business or a small business, it's a productivity gain. Another aspect is that you have the possibility of using tools such as Excel to analyze data regarding your own clients, but it means that you need to have the possibility of collecting data and analyzing that data. To give you an example, you want to be able to use the data of previous sales, say of the previous year, which would enable you to make a projection about possible gains over the next year. So this is an opportunity that you can explore thanks to artificial intelligence. And then the last point is optimization of operations, whether it is to manage stocks or whether it is to manage deliveries or manage your clients. Automation is definitely a plus in this context. So it's a new way of introducing innovation in the field, and this allows you to have access to a wider market. Next. So today, concretely speaking, when I'm talking about generating content, how does that take place? And when do you need to generate content? Well, for instance, when you want to advertise on the traditional media or on the social media, you want to have more time to dedicate to other activities. So you can use the various client assistants that exist today to automate a certain number of activities, such as LLMs, for instance, which are presented in the form of chat box. You can have interactions with your clients. You can better plan your agenda. You can also have virtual workers such as Google Workplace and Gemini. So those are just examples of what you could do and would not cost you much. Some other examples we notice on the fields is that there are a number of tools for SMEs, but it's important to start simple. Use accessible open source tools. Try to solve concrete problems with those tools. Don't use them just because it's fashionable, but because it really solves a concrete problem. Number 3, start small and then grow, strengthen your skills, and then use AI to help you making decisions. However, beware, because some confidential data should not be used when you use a chat box, because that would mean that your business information is being revealed to the wider public. So this next slide, I'm going to go through it very rapidly. It shows you that you can plan when to use AI. There are some basic skills that you need to develop, especially if you are a woman entrepreneur. For instance, data literacy. How do you understand the data? How can you properly use the data? As the person in charge of the company, you are the first person who is the guarantor of the quality of the information. Then the AI literacy. You need to understand the true capabilities and limitations of AI to use it effectively without falling into the traps of over-promising or excessive mistrust. And then last but not least, critical thinking and data-driven decision-making. You need to develop the ability to question the results provided by the artificial intelligence and make decisions based on data rather than intuition alone. So that would already account for a better use of AI. Next. Thank you. So today, in order to achieve all this, there are a number of things that and interactions that you need to accomplish. Don't stay alone in your own little corner. Try to work together with the other stakeholders of the system, such as governments, because they are the ones who make decisions regarding inclusive governance, inclusive decisions. Try to influence that your issues are part of inclusive strategies and decisions made by government. And then you can also work with the private sector. If other companies have already made strides, great strides in this field, try to make alliances with them to try to tailor your approach to the local realities. That is really important. And then the third element, which is really important, with which the SMEs might be working, are the incubators and the hubs. You can experiment in a secure manner the project that you are trying to design. So it's a safe space for experimentation. For instance, you have these innovation hubs and you have these accelerators, which are especially designed for women, so that they themselves can develop and scale their own project. They can form alliances with private sector stakeholders, so that better decision making is ensured. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm reaching the end of my presentation almost. What I'm trying to say with this slide is that when you talk about inclusive AI, you need to start thinking how the tools have been developed and how they're being used and deployed. Because actually, this is really crucial for the inclusivity of the tool. So item number 1, it's what I called making access democratic, so accessible to all. Women entrepreneurs, wherever they are, whatever their level of education, they should have access to AI tools, even if they are basic tools. Number 2, when policies are well developed, we want to make sure that women are involved in the design process. So it's the co-creation process here to ensure inclusive data sets. So that means that you're not just going to adopt a set of data representing only part of the community or part of the collective areas, and then you want to encourage women to be creators of AI solutions. Women should be creators themselves, and the SMEs can get together and say, okay, I have a problem in terms of stock management. We all have that same problem. What can we do together to try to find a solution which is specific to our area or our sector? So that is also another element of inclusivity which is specific to women. Next slide, please. And so to conclude, I only have 2 slides left. Well, to conclude, I have designed a sort of roadmap. So to allow women entrepreneurs to include AI in her approach. To briefly recap, look at this slide, which is the roadmap for action. So these are the various steps that will transform opportunities in something which will have an impact. We know that AI is offering opportunities. So these are the 4 simple steps that you can use in order to move forward into the future. So this is only one proposal. So step number 1, remove the barriers, the obstacles, then adopt best practice, whether for marketing, data, or operations, and then train and support. So now that you are aware about AI, make sure that the teams around you can also achieve the level of data literacy so that you might have a real impact. And then the last step is to make sure that all the other stakeholders, governments, private sector, hubs, and all that can have an inclusive approach to the ecosystem. Next slide. This is my last slide. The message that I want you to keep is that we've come to the last step of this revolution, which is an important stage. Everyone can rely on artificial intelligence to generate revenue, whatever activity, whatever the country that they live in. So we want to draw as many advantages from this new tool so that it remains advantageous for all and so that it has a concrete impact for all. I would invite everyone to adopt this posture of continuous learning so that you can really have an impact. This is my main message tonight. Thank you very much for listening to me. And obviously, I'm here available if you have questions or require any clarification. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akoua, and thank you so much for your last message where you were saying talking about the importance of keeping the learning process. Thank you so much for this clear overview about the challenges on AI. You talked about data confidentiality and ethics when using AI, and I would like to take that opportunity to present our second panelist, Clarke. She is the founder of AI governance consultant at EthicalAI Caribbean in Jamaica. Kay is an AI governance and digital transformation specialist whose work focuses on building AI systems that are responsible, inclusive, and effective in practice. She has supported AI adoption in financial services and is especially recognized for translating complex AI concepts into actionable systems. Her perspective is also deeply informed by her work on inclusive AI and data equity in Jamaica, with a strong emphasis on bias, accessibility, fairness, and human dignity. We are looking forward to your insights on this topic. Go ahead, Kai, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Clarke, and today, because my previous speaker spoke about a bit on how we can progress with AI, I will be speaking on how I and how you can also utilize AI to make it a bit more inclusive and a bit more able for you to understand and use. I work at the intersection of AI, governance, and digital transformation, as well as disability advocacy. And through EthicalAI Caribbean, I wanted to talk more about something that we don't say enough. AI is already shaping who gets access to opportunity, especially for female entrepreneurs. But here's the challenge. AI is not automatically inclusive. Without intentional design and governance, it can quietly reinforce the very gaps that we are trying to close. So today, I'll be sharing my research on algorithmic equity and, more importantly, practical ways we can build AI systems that actually work for female entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur within the Caribbean and the wider society. Next slide, please. So the idea is, let me start with a bit of something personal. I am disabled, and at EthicalAI Caribbean, I advise businesses on AI governance as well as how to use AI responsibly and how it can be inclusive. But I also use AI every day to do normal tasks, also to run my business. And by doing that, I use it to analyze complex regulations like the Jamaica's Data Protection Act and global frameworks like the EU AI Act. I use it to draw policy templates that make compliance affordable for small businesses. I use it to research trends and streamline my client communications. AI allows me as a solo founder with a small network of partners and a small team to compete with much larger firms. That's the productivity gain UN Women talks about previously in their brief. Next slide, please. So UN Women has done excellent work documenting the adoption gap. As a woman entrepreneur in tech, I feel these challenges personally, especially being a disabled woman in tech. From connectivity issues to the steep learning curve of new tools, but from the connectivity issues to the steep learning curve of new tools, my research also shows that adoption is only half the story. Even when women like me do access AI, the systems themselves may not work fairly for us. Credit scoring AI may be biased. Agricultural advice AI may be trained on data from much larger farms and not necessarily their their stakeholders or some other small components of them. This is where the governance section comes in. And in Jamaica, it's actually a lot deeper. The issue is so much more vast because we don't yet have the governance structures in place to catch these risks very early. For example, we don't have mandated accessibility standards. We don't require bias audits or algorithmic impact assessments, and we're not consistently collecting disability disaggregated data. So the gap isn't just adoption, it's protection, oversight, and intentional design. Next slide, please. So let me introduce how I decided to tackle it, as both a disabled woman and as a woman in tech or STEM. The JIAIS is something that can be adopted by all Caribbean nations or by even the global society. It was designed for Jamaica or any small island developing state. It's lightweight, practical, and can be adapted widely, especially where UN Women and COLEAD operate. So what does good policy look like? In my country, the Planning Institute of Jamaica proposed the JIAIS framework. It has 4 practical pillars. Inclusive data standards ensure AI training data actually represents the people that it is being used by, meaning in this case, Caribbean women, not just the global averages. A transparency registry in the JIAIS framework means citizens can see where AI is being used in decisions that affect them, like loan approvals or benefits eligibility. And then an audit office provides independent testing, and an equity fund finances AI tools designed for inclusion is also included. This framework is designed for small island developing states, and it doesn't require a massive bureaucracy. I developed this framework to address the exact gaps we are going to discuss. The goal is simple: ensure that AI systems used in Jamaica are not just innovative, but inclusive, accountable, and context-aware. It focuses on 3 core areas. First, accessibility, making sure AI systems can actually be used by everyone, including persons with disabilities. Second, accountability, requiring bias assessments and impact evaluations before the systems are deployed. And third, data equity, ensuring that the data used to train and evaluate these systems actually reflect the population it is going to be used on. Because without that, even the most advanced AI will produce incomplete or biased outcomes. Ultimately, the JIAIS is about shifting from reactive fixes to more proactive design, building inclusion into AI from the start and not trying to patch it in later. Next slide, please. So, this is the alignment. JIAIS, or the framework, whichever country, if it was in Barbados or Guyana or even in France, it allows for the UN Women's concerns to be placed into concrete governance tools. For example, just like the AI Equity Fund, it could actually finance a woman-led cooperative developing a voice-based market price tool. And that is where it gets exciting. Because where women are, that's where it begins to thrive. And where we are included, where everyone is included, is where everything begins to be more connected and where it flows better. Next slide, please. Another tool I developed would be the Disability Inclusion Scoring Algorithm, the DISA. It evaluates AI systems on accessibility, bias risk, transparency, and whether the data includes marginalized groups. Why does this matter? Because persons in minorities are often invisible in AI datasets. In Jamaica particularly, many disabled people are homeless and on the streets. If they are not in the data, especially as AI progresses in my country, AI will never serve them. So to make this more practical of how to use AI more responsibly, especially, I developed the tool called DISA. It's designed to evaluate the AI systems before they are deployed, not after the problems show up. And let's talk about it more. It has 4 key areas. Again, accessibility, whether the system meets basic usability standards like the WCAG and can actually be used by persons in minorities. Second, let's look at the bias risk. We're going to use frameworks like the NIST to assess whether it could produce unfair or skewed outcomes. And then transparency, whether users can understand how decisions are being made or how the system, or if the system is operating like a black box. So a black box in its explanation is mostly like, what is going on? We don't know how it decided this decision. We don't know where it got this data from. And we need a bit more accountability and transparency. But let's look at the 4th thing. It's equity data readiness, whether the data behind the system actually reflects diverse users, including persons from minorities. So when you use the DISA tool, each of these areas is scored to give a clear, structured view of how inclusive or risky an AI system is. And this is especially important in the context of UN Women's work, because women with, let's say, disabilities face a double layer of exclusion. And DISA acts as a checkpoint, making sure that tools designed to support entrepreneurs don't unintentionally exclude the very people they are meant to empower. Next slide, please. So, to conclude, women entrepreneurs are using AI. Not a lot of that, but I am proof of it. I am proof of it. The panelists are proof of it, and anyone in the audience who is interested in using it is proof of that. But it's true. We face real challenges, bias, accessibility gaps, affordability. So I wanted to ground this presentation particularly in my own experience as a woman entrepreneur, as well as a disabled woman using AI. Running EthicalAI Caribbean, I've learned that AI is a powerful force multiplier. It allows a small team like mine to operate with the efficiency of a much larger firm. But at the same time, AI requires oversight. Every tool I use, whether it's for research, drafting, or analysis, I actively evaluate bias and reliability. I have also learned that context, especially context, very much matters. Many global AI models are not trained with Caribbean realities in mind. So without adjustment, they can produce outputs that don't really reflect our environment. And most important, inclusion is not automatic. It has to be actually included. Just because a system is advanced doesn't mean it's fair or accessible. You have to design for inclusion intentionally. So for me, using AI is not just about efficiency, it's also about responsibility. Please, next slide. This is my last slide, I believe, yes. So if you'd like to read my full research paper or discuss AI governance and enablement further, I am easy to find online. My website is, as stated here, ethicalcaribbean.com, and I'm active on LinkedIn as Kai Clarke. Thank you again for inviting me to speak on this very important topic, UN Women, and I'm open for questions and a Q&A session after. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Kai, for this overview. You were talking about practical solutions. So give me the opportunity, allow me to introduce now Priscilla Wakarera. She's the co-founder of Rhea in Kenya, and she is giving practical solutions as well. Priscilla is a soil scientist and the CEO of a Kenyan agri-tech company, pioneering locally in making soil analysis technology. Through sensors and AI-powered tools, Rhea is capable to provide smallholders farmers with affordable, real-time soil health insights tailored to African conditions. Their work is helping transform agricultural productivity while opening also new opportunities for locally rooted innovation and entrepreneurship. Priscilla, you are very welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alonso. Thank you as well for the introduction. And for my session, I will be borrowing from the concluding statements from Ms. Clarke's presentation on having context for the solutions that we have. And my focus will primarily be on how we as women entrepreneurs can leverage AI, not as users, but as producers as well. And my focus will be primarily on empowering smallholder farmers or the disadvantaged communities in the global south. Next slide, please. So this is my favorite picture of myself, of my journey. And this is where an obsession for solutions began. So my background is in soil science, and I worked for a long period of time developing solutions that were biotech-based for the improvement of soil fertility to advance agriculture in Kenya. And during this period, ran into a problem that I thought that I just couldn't get over, and I continuously obsessed over. And this particular problem is currently being solved by leveraging AI solutions. Next slide, please. So you find that over 60% of Africa's land is degraded, and over 30 to 35% of productivity loss is directly attributable to the poor soil health in these regions. And this is affecting over 33 million smallholder farmers, and this is just in Kenya alone. As I mentioned, during my research, I walked through farms where soils were acidic and dying, and women farmers were using guesswork, buying the wrong types of fertilizers, losing entire seasons, and a soil test for them meant waiting 14 days and also accessing a lab they either could not afford or even reach. So this particular problem presents as Africa's silent crisis. And this particular crisis we have found is not only affecting Africa, but affecting other smallholder agroecosystems across the world. But now, AI is finally making a solution reachable. Next slide, please. So currently, to access soil data that would guide fertilizer or input use and recommendations, farmers have to wait over 14 days and up to 3 months before they can get their soil taken from their farms into a lab, analyzed, and a report generated. This particular activity usually requires sophisticated lab setups, very highly skilled personnel, as well as days and time spent waiting for processes to naturally run in systems that have been built for over 100 years. Now, at Rhea, we have made this solution more timely, convenient, and accessible, especially to smallholder farmers. We're able to achieve this by building proprietary hardware for on-site soil testing that is built in Kenya at the local level that is able to cut down time for soil analysis to just under 15 minutes, ensuring that even 100 farmers would be in a position to get their results in just 48 hours as opposed to 14 days having their soil analyzed. We've also been able to provide this service at under $12 per test, and we have made sure that by co-designing these particular solutions, we're making it affordable by design. This hardware device, the Rhea AgriPad, is integrated into an AI machine learning model. What our machine learning models do is trifold. First, they calibrate the devices that we have to ensure that we have higher accuracy threshold while we're doing soil testing. Second, they also compute the data collected from these devices into actionable insight, providing for precise fertilizer, crop, and timing recommendations that is geared to the local context. And third, as we continuously collect these soil data points, we are building a data set that is building and gearing up a predictive soil model that can not only be leveraged for our agroecosystem, but can then be utilized across Africa and other regions for smallholder agroecosystems growing the similar types of crops. When you build using AI or machine learning, from the poll that we had earlier, you will realize that a lot of people mentioned that the challenge is taking time to actually learn how to use some of these technologies, or even finding time to leverage or finding where the technologies are. For us, we provide farmers with a WhatsApp chatbot. The WhatsApp chatbot is usually embedded or accessible through their mobile phones. So this is accessible through any type of mobile phone, whether it's a very high value one or a very simple and low cost solution, without needing to download an app, and with the ability to work offline just with data. They can access a free agronomist on their phone, as well as a free soil advisory, as well as retrieve any of the recommendations that they had already gotten from soil testing. To enable us to provide this service at the local level, we onboard agronomist agents or field agents who are primarily women who are currently running small agribusinesses at the village level. We train them on the importance of soil health. We train them on how to leverage these technologies and provide the service directly to farmers. What we have done at Rhea is provide for AI through environmental conservation. And with every single test that we are able to conduct, we are contributing to building Africa's largest soil data set that will then enable carbon tracking, regenerative farming, and soil biodiversity protection for future generations. And why is this important? Context. Without our own data collected from our own locations, to build the models that we utilize, we cannot be sure that we are getting the correct output or we're using AI in the most responsible way. Next slide, please. So I'll draw out what our business model is. And I want to emphasize on this section. Once you have built AI tools, the hardest part is building the AI tools. We have data fragmentation in Africa. We also have very sparse data points. We also have the access to data is limited and protected behind paywalls or not even accessible or collected at all. So having to build those models becomes very tedious and capital intensive. But after building the model, that's only half of where the work is. The rest of it is actually getting the models to be utilized by the users you had built them for. For Rhea, we have built this for the smallholder farmers, and we have built it in a way that then empowers women. We onboard these agents at the agro input shops. These shops are located at the very village level, provide for soil testing service, but through the system, somebody with very limited skills, only a 2-day training from Rhea, is able to conduct soil analysis, generate a scientific report, and provide it to their client with only a 2-day training, without specialized AI or computer science training. And from this, they're able to earn a commission of 20% for every single report they help generate. This is women who are between the ages of 25 and up to 75 years old that have been running small businesses in the village or have been meeting and congregating with other farmers, and now they are tech savvy. We also provide agronomy advisory by doing trainers of trainers meetings. We provide them with an accessible mobile app that helps them to self-learn, but it also has a trainer, an AI trainer in it, where they can continuously ask questions about the information they are learning so that they can improve as if it's on a classroom setup. This year, we have developed a SaaS platform that will allow access for the predictive model that will then be useful for agro dealers, non-governmental organizations, and financial institutions to access an API that helps them generate data recommendations, as well as integrate our data into their current systems. So how do we specifically empower women? We provide very affordable testing that then replaces costly guesswork, as well as cheaper than what you could typically find in the market. We also provide this through WhatsApp, meaning that this is a system they're already using. There's no literacy barrier. Through our WhatsApp chatbot, we currently do provide for about 13 languages, including the national languages and local languages, meaning there is no literacy or language barrier experienced. We also provide for recommendations in local languages, making them more able to understand and implement the recommendations that have been provided. And through the tracking on impact assessment we have done for the farms that leverage AI recommendations, we have seen an up to 40% yield improvement every single season for the farmers that utilize our recommendations. We also empower women, not just as customers, but as agents and earners. We train these women to become Rhea field agents, earning an income through the 20% commission framework. We also deliver last mile access to remote communities by setting up the soil testing hubs at the very village level. We also build technical skills in agri-tech and data through the continuous learning, through the Rhea agent app, but as well as forums where we convene to train more, and also create a pathway to owning an agri-service business, because by leveraging our devices and the software on their mobile phones, they are now a trained soil scientist and agronomist without having had background in it. Next slide. So this is how we as women can leverage AI as an equalizer in the agricultural space. We have highlighted what the barriers are. We have spoken deeply about how very few women are using generative AI, how this is even worse in low-income countries, and how the underrepresentation of women in the AI workforce directly correlates to the use of generative AI for work for women, and also how limited access to finance, digital tool, and skills then contributes. At Rhea, we work through some of these aspects. The WhatsApp chatbot in itself presents an aspect for them to even leverage an AI at the farm level, not just for efficiency, but also for better outputs and better yield planning as well. By embedding these particular solutions into their everyday activities, for example, setting up the shops at the village level or embedding it into low-cost mobile phones, we have ensured that even those in low-income countries can actually access this technology. By providing for offline use, we also allow for areas that have limited connectivity to still benefit from these AI solutions. By onboarding agronomist agents, we increase the underrepresentation of women under the AI workforce, as well as upskill them through trainings and also link them to our partners in the finance sector so they can use their commission data over time as a credit scoring margin so they can even access finance. So how does AI level the field in other areas of agriculture except soil health? We emphasize on precision agriculture. Through our system, we are able to optimize the inputs to be used. We reduce the waste of chemical fertilizers or any other type of fertilizers, but also increase yield for these farms. But there's also another layer that AI could be utilized for, and this is market access. By connecting the rural women producers to buyers and e-commerce platforms, we could build recommender models that recommend to these women where the price is, what crops to grow, because at this particular season, then the price would be right, ensuring that they can make a profit. We can also provide this as a recommender system for buyers and e-commerce platform to know who in the current market is growing what, or which women are actually selling at which markets, then they can link them together to purchase. One of the key things that we emphasize on is climate resilience as well. And with predictive analytics, we are able to be, instead of being controlled by our weather, we can control the situations that can be impacted by weather, soil health, and pest management as well. We have different solutions that cut across this particular board. With different embedded solutions, farmers on the chatbot are able to do pest management by taking an image of a crop, uploading it into the system, and getting a recommended output on the treatment method or the good agricultural practices. On the system as well, we are able to integrate the weather predictions into the recommendation to ensure that the type of fertilizer we provide is the right one for that weather season. So we are not recommending a fertilizer that is easy to leach at a time when it's a very heavy rain season. The biggest gap in terms of financial inclusion for women is the lack of physical assets to use as collateral for loans, but it's also the lack of credit scoring data. For a lot of these women, the finances are handled by the men in the family, and they therefore are not able to have a credit score that they can use to access credit when they're setting up their businesses. But with our current model, those that set up agro input shops are able to have credit-worthy data that they can then present to a financial institution to show that they are continuously generating revenue and earning commission through that. But we also collaborate with partners like banks and other agri-fintechs to ensure that they actually take up this data to use it. And for other women farmers or other general smallholder farmers, we have started integrating their soil health data into predictive model that then helps de-risk their loans or even de-risk their insurance. We have found that women-led businesses tend to given adequate access to finance and resources, tend to generate a higher return on investment because they're very meticulous in their spending as well as the output that they require. Next slide, please. So as I conclude, we are looking for a future where every woman has data to grow. And to highlight, one of the biggest challenges that we currently are facing is the lack of data, but the lack of our own contextualized data. We should invest more in women-led agri-tech companies to close the gender gap in AI adoption, not only to train them or to have them as users, but invest in them to build systems that they understand, that they have experienced problems for and that they know what the actual solution is. We would also like to prioritize affordable. We also would like to call for prioritization of affordable, locally designed AI tools for the Global South. And with this, we're looking at building solutions that are tailor-made for the local context, and not just building and selling to the people at the local level, but building these particular solutions with them. At Rhea, we believe in building for our customers, with our customers. And as we were developing our solutions, we piloted and iterated over 7 times with the smallholder farmers, ensuring that every single feature that we have on the system was directly requested by them, and we can track that they actually do utilize them, as opposed to bombarding them with the most flashy or shiniest new technologies that I imagine before they've even learned what the older technologies are. We also feel that building ecosystems connecting women entrepreneurs to skills, markets, and capital will increase the number of women that then get into the AI space and leverage this for us to then grow. By having such convenings like today, it would call for South-South collaboration to scale proven AI solutions across regions. So as an example, with our solution currently proven to be working in Kenya, there is potential for other women to benefit from the same across the continent and beyond. And this can only be achieved through direct collaboration in a multi-country type of way and integrating these solutions for ourselves. So we cannot only be adopting AI solutions that have been brought to us. It's about time we start building AI solutions for our own problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. This is a very inspiring message, a very inspiring journey you have. We are definitely embracing the insights of looking at AI as an equalizer, and more when it's coming to a specific field, as it is agriculture, not only affecting to soil health, but to waste management, climate resilience, market access, and so on. It's a great presentation. Thank you so much. I would like to introduce now to our last panelist. She's Lisa Marie LaVeau. She's ambassador of Women in AI in Trinidad and Tobago. Lisa Marie brings extensive experience in energy, international business development, investment facilitation, and strategic partnership. She leads regional expansion and commercial negotiations in the Caribbean, and also serves as the Trinidad and Tobago ambassador for Women in AI, helping amplify Caribbean voices in global technology discussions while supporting public-private collaboration and innovation-driven growth. So thank you so much. Welcome to all of you, and thank you again for being here, Lisa Marie. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Alonso, and good morning to everyone, and thank you to UN Women and COLEAD for the opportunity to speak at this very important conversation. I was very moved by Priscilla's presentation earlier, and I can see how it can fit in our market for sure. My name is Lisa Marie LaVeau, and I serve as the Women in AI Ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago. And today I want to share a simple but powerful idea. Artificial intelligence is not just a technology trend, it is an economic equalizer, if we choose to make it one. Next slide. Let me start with a quick story. Imagine a woman entrepreneur here in the Caribbean, a small agro-processor, similar to Priscilla, a boutique owner, or a wellness practitioner. She's talented, driven, and resourceful. But like many entrepreneurs, she's doing everything: operations, marketing, finances, customer engagement. It's overwhelming. Now imagine that same entrepreneur with access to simple AI tools. Tools that help her generate marketing content in minutes, predict customer demand, respond to clients automatically, and make smarter financial decisions. That is a shift we're talking about. AI has the potential to are you all not hearing me? AI has the potential to multiply capacity, not replace it. Next slide. Okay, thank you. Today, I'll briefly walk through why AI matters for women entrepreneurs, how it can be used in practical ways, the challenges we must address, and how we must ensure this transformation is inclusive and ethical. AI is fundamentally changing how businesses operate, compete, and scale. For women entrepreneurs, this presents a unique opportunity. AI can automate repetitive tasks, generate insights from data, and support better decision-making. And for businesses without large teams or resources like Kai's, this is critical. In many ways, AI lowers traditional barriers, time, cost, and access to expertise. So this is not just about technology adoption. It is about economic participation and competitiveness. And if we get this right, AI can help level the playing field for women-led businesses across our region. Next slide. Let's bring this closer to home. Across the Caribbean, many women-led businesses operate in sectors like tourism, retail, agriculture, beauty, and services. These are not traditionally seen as tech sectors, but they are exactly where AI can have immediate impact. For example, a small agro-processing business can use AI tools to forecast demand, reduce waste, and improve profitability. A salon or boutique can use AI-generated content to maintain a consistent and professional online presence without needing a full marketing team. A small retailer can use chatbots or WhatsApp automation to respond to customers instantly. And even in finance, there are tools to better manage cash flow, pricing, and expenses. Let me bring this to life with a simple example. Imagine a woman entrepreneur running a skincare or food business from her community. She doesn't have a large team or a big marketing budget, but she does have a smartphone. Today, she's using AI tools to generate her content, respond to her customer inquiries instantly, and even analyze what her customers are most likely to buy next. What used to take hours now takes minutes. This is not the future. It's already happening across our region. Women are quietly integrating AI into their businesses, increasing visibility, improving efficiency, and growing revenue. The opportunity is here. The question is, how do we scale it? Next slide, please. Of course, while the opportunity is clear, we must also be very honest about the challenges that we're facing. In many parts of the Caribbean and the Global South, access to digital skills training is still limited. Infrastructure can be inconsistent, and for many women entrepreneurs, cost remains a barrier. There are also important concerns around data privacy, as mentioned before, cybersecurity, and trust. And critically, as also previously and most importantly mentioned, we must acknowledge the risk of bias. AI systems are only as inclusive as the data and perspectives behind them. If women and diverse communities are not represented, those biases can be reinforced. So as we talk about adoption, we must also talk about access, equity, and intentional inclusion. Next slide, please. This brings us to a critical point: ethics, governance, and inclusion. AI is not neutral. It reflects the data, systems, and people behind it. For policymakers and leaders, this means prioritizing fairness, transparency, and accountability. For businesses, even at the SME level, this means adopting AI responsibly. Next slide, please. And most importantly, it means ensuring that women are not just users of AI, but active participants in shaping it. Because inclusion is not just a social imperative, it is an economic one. So I'll close with this. AI has the potential to transform economies, but only if we are intentional about who is included. Women entrepreneurs are already driving growth, innovation, and resilience across our region. While the right tools and support are critical, they can do even more with greater support. Next slide. So the call to action is simple. Invest in AI education and digital skills for women. Build strong cross-sector partnerships. Encourage experimentation and adoption. And create ecosystems where women can learn, lead, and innovate. Because ultimately, AI should not widen inequality, it should close it. And if we get this right, women entrepreneurs will not just participate in the future of AI, they will help define it. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for this presentation, for your insights. This was awesome. We are gonna pass now with the second poll. As you may remember, at the beginning of the session, we were trying to learn a little bit more about what was your sense about AI and familiarity with AI. And we would like to know now what's the feeling you have regarding the AI after the session, and then we will pass the floor to Nina. She will be doing the Q&A, and we will open the discussion with our panelists. So I will give you now a couple of minutes, as I did before, to complete the poll about what did you learn during the session that is going to be definitely useful for us all. I encourage you to fill the poll. Thank you so much. I will give you a couple of seconds more before closing the poll. Okay, we are closing the poll now. We will be analyzing quickly your questions that we will further analyze in the next days, upcoming days. That's great news regarding the first question. Most of you improve your understanding on practical uses. I'm glad to hear so. And you are likely or very likely or possibly will be integrating AI tools, which is great as well. About your needs, you are highlighting all of them, I would say, very splitted, but practical training and workshop, access to tools or platforms, peer learning, funding on financial support, all of them are important, right? We will be working on that within this framework. So thank you so much for your answers and for completing the poll. And we are gonna close the poll now. I would like to briefly introduce you to Nina. Nina Desanlis is a project officer in COLEAD's Networks and Alliances Department, where she develops and coordinates global partnerships to support entrepreneurships, development, and sustainability in the agri-food sector across global South countries. She organized webinars with key international partners, including us, UN Women, and brings a strong background in sustainability, international cooperation, and climate justice. Nina, over to you for the Q&A, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Many thanks, Alonso. And thank you to all the panelists for the interesting exchange and insights. The diversity in the presentations today was super impressive, and I'm certain we all learned a lot about the adoption of artificial intelligence in women-led businesses. Now, some of our participants have questions for our panelists. And we will go first with two questions that are quite similar, so I'm going to ask them at the same time. And they are not directed to one panelist specifically, but to anyone who can or wants to answer. So the questions are, what AI tool would you recommend for automating our tasks? And in the similar, likewise, what kinds of AI tools or technologies, both hardware or software, could be used to support women starting or growing businesses? I don't know who of you, Akoua, Kai, Priscilla, or Lisa Marie wants to answer. You can just open your mic and answer.
For me, I utilize the Microsoft Copilot Power Apps to make a lot of automations and it pertains to an institution kind of basis. There are other tools that make automations that you can use for personal use. For example, there's N8N, there's Make, and another one that I'm not quite remembering right now. But if you're in an institution and you'd like for it to be something that is accountable, the Power Apps like Power Automate or just making an application, those are very useful. The second question, hardware, if you're just starting out, I'd recommend that you learn more about transformers. There are many different types of transformers and there are many different ways of assembling them. I'm not only in the AI space, but I'm also an engineer. And I've had the opportunity of seeing technology-wise how transformers work and understanding it bit by bit. So if you'd like to learn more about the hardware side of things, you can dive into the different types of transformers and if they can be of benefit to you. Hope that helped.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you. I don't know if someone else wants to give an answer.
Hi, yes. I think HubSpot is a great tool. You can utilize it as a CRM. It's a CRM that I've used and helps with managing your client contacts, helps with your marketing. It helps with managing your sales arms of your business as well. It works well for companies that are in retail or have large customer bases, even medium-sized to small customer bases. It's a great starting point, and they offer free solutions for small companies as well. I also like Quilla, which I believe is QWILR, which helps with generating invoices and quotations, which I think all of us need once you're in business. So those are two solutions I think that anyone who has a small business should look at in terms of helping support with payments as well as marketing and sales.
Okay, thank you, Lisa Mary. Thank you for your answer. I don't know if Akoua or Priscilla, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to mention a tool that I used to use for data analysis and about customer data, who is Dovetail. So Doveteail, as you hear it. So it's very helping when you have a lot of customers in your company while selling. Then you can just analyze and then even work on the revenue generating with the team and then have more insight on your data. There is also this AI, LLM agentic AI, who is GenSpark, as you hear it, GenSpark, who is more like an AI agent where you can automate everything and then connect that LLM to other networks like your Google Workspace or even Microsoft. So yeah, those are the tools I would like to mention. Thank you.
Thank you, Akoua. Okay. Well, Priscilla, I don't know if you want to answer this question. Otherwise, I will go to the next one.
I think we've pretty much covered most of them.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. Okay, now the next question, actually, Priscilla, I see that you have answered it in the Q&A feature, but maybe you can say it out loud. So the question is, what are some strategies that a business support NGO for women can implement or advocate for in relation to the data aspects?
Okay, I think I can start with the one that I shared, and this is around the organization creating programs for ecosystem data sharing. So essentially just convening different stakeholders that have the specific data that's required to build data sharing partnerships where different participants are able to contribute, but with very specific governed data sets, either for AI innovation or for women empowerment. And one of the biggest hindrances to open data sharing is usually not having clarity on the privacy, security, and also the value of sharing for the stakeholders. So creating a program that is able to bring out what the value sharing across the stakeholders will be, and also emphasizing how the privacy and security of the data shared will be handled, tends to encourage better data sharing. But just to add on some of the ones that I haven't highlighted here, it's just running advocacy programs as well for more open public data. So what this would do is to push government agencies as well as some of the development agencies to publish more of the data sets they already have available, but then publish this in a format that is readable and can be utilized by those that need to build on them. But also building what these organizations could do is build programs for these women businesses that support those ones that are building within the intersection of AI and data by providing like very tailored incubation support to allow them to prototype and test out in a sandbox solutions. And this can be delivered through either mentorship on different data governance or how to access the different data sets or who they should actually relate to, but also how to handle, store, and process that data responsibly. And then I think maybe my last point around this is for most non-governmental organizations, they're really good with policy advocacy, looking at how they can help advocate to turn some of these data sharing aspects into a policy voice. So essentially what this says is coming up with policies that provide for very straightforward licensing of data, or to just inform on what the overall open data and data sharing frameworks policies for different areas are. And I feel like this would really directly contribute to helping clear up this hindrance. So just to provide an example, we did have a program that we worked with the World Bank. It was the Soil Health Summit, where an innovation challenge, we ran an innovation challenge. In soil health, the biggest hindrance to building solutions has been the lack of data or data sparsity. And a lot of people have this data, which is development agencies, research organizations, private companies, government, but everybody was holding their own data. But until a framework was put together with all the stakeholders working in a workshop to say, this is how everybody benefits from this is how long the data is going to be available, and this is what you're strictly tied to using the data for. Also, this is the level of data we're willing to share, and this is what we're willing to withhold. We did see that a lot of the companies did present it, and we also had different startups, but also universities and just general organizations coming together to see if they can build solutions off those models. And at the end of it, we realized that it provides a tangible output. So this is something that can be replicated for other industries, but also in other countries and other regions based on the current need that's there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this very complete answer. Okay, we've had also some other questions regarding the presentations and the recordings. They will all be available on AgriNovators, and we will also send them to you by email. So don't worry, you will get them. Now, I think regarding questions, there are not any other questions in the Q&A feature. So I don't know if any of the panelists want to say a final word before I close the session. This is your time. Otherwise, I will just proceed with the closing. Go on, Priscilla.
Yeah, maybe in closing, just to point out, with a lot of data systems and a lot of the AI technologies that we have, they are making work easier and they are enabling us to do more. I think there's been a call about how much more efficient people can be in the workplace because of utilizing these tools. But something to just take care of, even after we think about the ethics, is that a lot of these systems are a garbage in, garbage out type of system. So at the end of the day, if we're going to be building, integrating them into our businesses or building, maybe, for example, an example provided here, like a business plan out of it, the information that goes into it needs to be good quality information such that it ensures that the output that you receive from the system is also good quality. Because the danger with overutilizing of AI tools is that we could, if you're too lazy with the information getting in, or you don't verify the input that you're putting in and re-verify the output that comes on, then we may end up with products that are not as functional as it could have been potentially possible. So it's garbage in, garbage out.
Thank you. Thank you, Priscilla. Any of the other panelists want to add something, or? Go on, Akoua.
I would just like to thank all the staff and all the participants for this section. And as the other panelists said, we are also available online for any further questions or information about this topic, because it's so relevant, AI and female entrepreneurship. So I just would like to highlight our availability. Thank you.
Thank you, Akoua. Kai?
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize how grateful I am for the opportunity to speak to everyone, and I am hoping that this continues to be something that grows for UN Women, as well as for the individual participants of this presentation. I am always available to talk further about this, and I am open to, having a one-on-one discussion if that's something that you guys all need. But thank you again, and have a great rest of your day.
Likewise. Thank you so much for inviting me to this panel. It was extremely interesting, and I had a great time interacting with you all across the globe. And I am available on LinkedIn. I'm also available at Lisa-Marie at womeninai.co, which I can send to you all. But thank you again. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I look forward to more speaking engagements like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Inês, you have your hand raised as well.
Yes. Just to thank to you, to Alonso, and to say that from the side of COLEAD, we will really make sure that we'll incorporate the suggestions, the learnings of this session within our TA, within our training offer, within our research and development. So these sessions are very, very critical for evolving and for evolving the offer of COLEAD to the constituency. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Inês. Okay, so I'm going to go on with the closing. So, yeah, I just want to briefly reflect on a few key takeaways. So today we've heard that artificial intelligence is already transforming economies and businesses, but we've also been reminded that access to these technologies remains uneven, particularly for women entrepreneurs in the Global South. The gap is not about capacity, but about access to skills, access to tools, access to infrastructure. At the same time, today's discussion has shown that many women are already finding practical ways to create, adopt, and use AI in their businesses, whether to improve efficiency, reach customers, or make better decisions. And these examples are important. They show that AI is not only for large companies or highly technical sectors. It can also be a useful, accessible tool for small and growing businesses, including in the agricultural sector. Looking ahead, the challenge is to ensure that more women entrepreneurs can benefit from these opportunities. This means continuing to invest in skills development, improving access to affordable technologies, and strengthening the ecosystems that support women-led businesses. It also means continuing to share experiences and practical knowledge, as we have done today. We hope this discussion has been useful and that it will encourage you to explore how AI can be applied in your own work and contexts. So I want to emphasize that this South-South series, organized by UN Women-COLEAD, is not just one session, but it is a community. And I strongly encourage all of you to continue the conversation and collaborate beyond today's session. I take this opportunity to promote our online entrepreneurs platform, AgriNovators. You will find all the information about this session, but also about different topics. I invite you to join our community forum to explore sustainable innovations that transform food systems. You can connect with entrepreneurs, with experts to discuss practical solutions and build effective partnerships. I also want to quickly speak about CEA First, the consortium Europe-Africa for Research and Innovation on Food Systems Transformation. Europe and Africa are joining forces to transform food systems. This new platform connects researchers, innovators, and funders across continents to boost food security, sustainable agriculture, and impactful innovation, including emerging technologies such as AI. So thank you again. Thank you all for joining us. Special thanks to UN Women for our collaboration. Also to our interpreters for their excellent work, and to our panelists, of course, for sharing their knowledge. Next session will be on the 10th of June and will focus on engaging men in championing women's empowerment. More information will be shared soon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alonso.